Yo, what's good guys? This is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com, and it's finally that time of year where it's time for my top 10, but my list was all kinds of messed up. This year was a really good year in my opinion, and it wasn't a good year for signature models as far as encore performance. It was just a good year for like a ton of different brands, a ton of their lower tier or budget friendly models. I say that real loosely. I'm just talking strictly in terms of like we're seeing shoes retail for $225, like the 29s or the what is it, like the Kobe's and LeBrons and KD's. They're anywhere between like 180 up to 200, and this year like most of those aren't even on my list, but there's more than 10 shoes, and so I kept like scratching and, you know, putting one thing up here, one thing over here, moving everything around, and it was just all kinds of messed up. I was pissing myself off because I couldn't make up my mind and narrow things down to like a small comprised list of 10, because I feel that there's more than 10 really great performance out there. So what I've got is my top 5, which will be towards the end of the video. But if you want to know my thoughts on what the best performance models of the year were just in general, not in any particular order, just what I thought were the best buys for people. So with that being said, I'm going to stop rambling and I'm just going to kind of get right into it. So these first 3 shoes, they are all signatures, and they are the most expensive of what I considered some of the best performers of the year. Again, no particular order, it's just my thoughts. That's all it is. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. Hopefully you appreciate it. If not, you know, feel free to agree to disagree or whatever. Leave your comments in the box. Again, there's no particular order. It's just my favorite performers of the year, period. So these 3 models are the LeBron 13, the Jordan Mellow M11, as well as the BrandBlack J Crossover 3. Again, all 3 of these are the most expensive options, the Mellow and the Crossover being the cheapest price as far as like retail goes. And what these 3 models offer you is really great cushion. So if you're looking for cushion, these are the shoes to do it for you. If you need like isolated impact protection and responsiveness, I'd go with the LeBron 13. If you just want fantastic cushion from heel to forefoot, go with the J Crossover. And if you want to try unlock zoom, the Mellow M11 is a really great option as well. The Mellows have a tight fit, and then the Crossovers fit a little bit loose, so you'd want to go down half a size. And the LeBrons, in my opinion, fit true to size, probably not wide footer friendly though. All of this information though you can get in all of their respective performance reviews. I will try to remember to leave links to all of that stuff in the description box below for all of the shoes listed on this list. So again, 3 top tier expensive performance models that you can't go wrong with are the LeBron 13, the Jordan Mellow M11, and the BrandBlack J Crossover 3. All of those I think are fantastic. So these models, there's a bunch of them. This is why like I couldn't come up with 10, because I think that all of these are dope purchases. All of these sneakers I had a blast playing in, and these are all actually team friendly or budget friendly models. There's a couple of signatures here and there, but nothing crazy. And what I like about this little chunk of sneakers is that it shows that all brands have something to offer, and they have something to offer that doesn't retail for 180 plus. Again, no particular order, so don't, you know, pay attention to that. I'm just going over my favorite shoes. So we've got the Adidas Crazy Light Boost. That shoe had some fucking great materials, man. I love the Prime Knit upper on those. Change the insole. You're gonna be good to go once you do that. A thicker insole. It's got boost in the back. It's got adiprene up front. The only problem that I have with that shoe is that my traction just got destroyed, and I didn't even play in them outside. Played in them strictly indoors, and in about 2 weeks my traction was literally gone. So that's the only bummer. I'm hoping that the pairs that they've manufactured after the performance review was published have been fixed with maybe a more firm rubber. I don't know. I haven't bought another pair. I just kind of keep things moving, but that was the only problem that I had with them personally, was just that the rubber wasn't durable. Leaning came strong this year because they really f***ed up last year with the Way of Wade 3, and their team models I personally feel are just slightly above their signature models, just because they are priced lower and you kind of get the same exact stuff. They're a brand where they don't use much different tech between shoes, and so whether you're buying the signature mainline or their budget friendly option, you're literally getting the same thing. So I figure like if that performs just as good as this, but this price is a little bit less, why not go with this one, right? So the 808 series I think is great, both the mid and the low. I personally preferred the low overall, but that's just a personal preference of mine. I really like low tops. If you really like straps, the mid is great also. And not only is this a budget friendly model, but you can play with these indoors or outdoors and they're actually going to last. The Nike Kyrie 2 is a shoe that just barely slides in because their cushion sucks in my opinion. I did not like that, but everything else about the shoe is awesome. And something that you have to keep in mind is that not everybody needs what you want or what you need. So when I am less than thrilled that they use a hyperfuse or plastic upper on the shoe, somebody else might be completely completely excited, and that's perfectly okay because that's what they like to play in. I just happen not to. And same thing with the cushion. Some players are just super speedy, ground-orientated guards, and Kyrie is one of them. He rarely gets up there. He's constantly just kind of like below the waist, just moving at it, crossing people over. The dude's got some of the best handles in the league, and it's really nice that he's actually able to play now, because that was something that I was bummed out about. I was like, man, you had to introduce your shoe or your new shoe and you weren't even playing. To me, I think that sucks. So the Kyrie 2, it's got some really great traction, really good lockdown. The materials, personally not my thing, but for other people they might be. They're durable, they contain your foot well, they do a good job. The only thing they lack is cushion. There was a purpose for that. That's what they intended to do. It's a ground shoe, and that's exactly what they're made for. And so in that sense, they did their job and they did it well. Again, keep in mind, none of this is in order. There is no numbers. These are just the best of, in my opinion. Now the next is another signature. It's the Jordan CP3.9. This is another shoe again where I was like, yo, that cushion, I didn't like it, but everything else I thought was fantastic. Other than that top bungee little lace thing, you can cut that off. There are holes within the upper to use as eyelets, and you'll be perfectly fine. It's a shoe that's under budget, and it's one of those shoes like the Mellow where nobody buys them. So if you just wait a couple months, they're gonna go on sale, and then you have a really good buy because you got all of this great performance in something that was less than retail. Now, one of my favorite shoes, this one is one where I kept putting it in the top 10, but then taking it out and then putting it back in and then taking it out. And this was one of those shoes that led me to make this jumbled up list of just what I really liked playing in all year long. And it's the Hyper Rev 2015. This shoe I think is like, it's awesome, dude. Like, it's not quite my top 5 awesome, but it would be like a 6-man type option. Great traction, solid cushion. It's actually zoom that you can feel. I love the fit. I love the materials. Everything about this shoe I thought was awesome, including the price. It's a shoe that you literally can't go wrong with, and this is a shoe that is bound to go into the outlets. You're gonna get them for a steal, guaranteed. And no matter if you paid retail or under, I personally think that that was a perfectly good decision. It's something where you're gonna get a shoe and you're gonna be happy with it. Now the LeBron Soldier 9, or Nike Zoom Soldier 9, whatever the heck they're called now, is one of those shoes where I personally like this shoe more than the actual signature line. It's got some really good traction. It's got great stability, awesome lockdown, and support. These shoes don't even need the laces that they come with. Like, everything on them is freaking awesome. And again, it's priced below that signature model, that $200 like LeBron 13. And to me, I like those more than those, or I like the Soldiers more than the 13s. So if you got the Soldiers, once again, whether it was retail price or less, great option in my opinion. Good for indoors, good for outdoors, pretty much good to go. Now Under Armour brought it hard with the Curry 1, and then they topped it off with the Curry 2, all within 1 year. It's rare when you see this, the first and second part of a signature series kind of like released in the same year, but that's what happened, and so this is what it is. Both shoes are on the list. One's in my top 5, one's not. The Curry 1, just because the traction and the cushion weren't quite as good in my opinion as they were in the 2, but they're still a top performer. I really love the low top ones. Those are the ones that I would personally get, but if you get it with the mids or whatever it is that you like, you're gonna get a solid performer. They're cheap too. Cheap again, relatively speaking. They're still over $100, but just barely. Now a shoe that does retail for $100 is the Anta KT1. This was a sleeper hit to me. They didn't do anything fantastic with this shoe other than they brought it with like the basic performance needs of a sneaker, and then they give it to you for like $100, which is awesome. Like, it's like a Hyperdunk, but the Hyperdunks released for $140 or more, and the Hyperdunks this year were trash, and they give you everything that you need, like I said, for $100. I think that's awesome, man. Like, it gives you room to like be like, oh, if I need a little bit more cushion, I can grab an insole for 20 more bucks, and that's a $120 purchase. That's like the same price as most of these shoes on this list right here. So Anta, they brought it. I played in their shoes before. This is the best one that they've done, and I'm happy that they did, because the person they did it for is actually a Warrior. So I'm like, whoa, you guys like really did a good job on that one. Thank you very much. Now a subcategory, kind of leaning off everything. This is something that I normally don't do, but I'm gonna slide a retro in here. And if you're gonna play in a retro, one that released this year in 2015, in my personal opinion, you have to try out the Air Jordan 20. Yes, it was extremely overpriced. I mean, that definitely went over 200. I can't even remember what the retail price was. I think it was like 220 or 225, something like that. But that shoe is awesome, dude. That thing's a beast. The cushion alone, that IPS system, it's technically outdated because they don't use it anymore, but it's something that's like, it's so comfortable, like you gotta try it. So that's why I put it on this list. You know, a retro slid in here. If you're gonna play in a retro that was recently released, I personally think that the Air Jordan 20 is one of those ones where it's like, dude, you're gonna be happy. Trust me, it's got some buttery ass leather on that thing. It's old school, but it still works. And it's not even that old school. They released originally in like 2005, so it's not like they're like ancient artifacts or anything like that in the basketball world. So now we get into the rankings. This is my top 5. This is my personal picks. These are the shoes that I had probably the most fun playing in, because these are the ones that I found myself constantly putting back in my gym bag, even though I would be also trying to performance review or wear test or whatever you want to call it, other shoes. So at number 5, the Wade 4s. Those, again, they f***ed up hard, like real bad with the Wade 3s. I know some people liked them. Good for you if you did. I don't care. I didn't like them. The Wade 4s though, I think are awesome. The materials are great. The fit was great. They were comfortable. They had pretty solid traction. Dust was kind of a problem with them, but that's with most of these shoes anyway, so you know, it is what it is. But again, it's one of those shoes where they kept like making their way back into my gym bag, and I was like, dude, I really like these things. It's kind of weird. Their only negative, in my opinion, is that they're not available in stores to try on, and they're trying to charge you like 190 bucks for them, when if you're gonna pay 190 bucks, you need to be able to try a shoe on. That's my personal thing, and that's just me. So you know, some people just really like the Wade line, so they're just gonna buy it anyways. But I would love to see that shoe on a shelf so that people can actually try it on, so that they can see like, oh yes, I think that this is gonna be a good shoe, so I'm gonna buy it for 190 bucks. So spot 4, this is actually a tie, because the two shoes are so f***ing similar, like they have to be tied, and that's the J Crossover 2 and the Force Vector Mesh. They both have the same tooling, so you're getting the same exact traction, the same cushion, and the same overall support. The main difference is the materials along the upper, so the Force Vector is just slightly more supportive than the J Crossover 2. If you want like a really free feeling shoe, you know, that knit is going to do that for you. But if you need something to still feel free but contain your foot better, not stretch and all that kind of good stuff, the Force Vector is the way to go. So spot 3 is the Curry 2. Again, they did the traction and the cushion better than the Curry 1. The materials and the fit and stuff like that, like I actually really like the fit of this one because they were super snug, but I like the materials and support a little bit more on the one. But that traction, that fit, man, it's two of the best on the market right now. So if you're going for something like that, you need traction and you need a one-to-one fit, you can't go wrong with the Curry 2. Now my number 2 spot, this was hard because this shoe kept going to my number 1, then it kept coming down and kept going up, kept going down. It stayed at number 2, and it's the D-Rose 6. If you need cushion, this is the shoe. The reason why that they're not quite at number 1 is just because there's fit issues with all Adidas models, it feels like. So this is definitely one shoe. Try those things on before you buy them. Trust me, you're gonna want to do that because some colorways fit differently than others. Why? I don't know, man. I don't work there. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't tell you. Now my number 1 spot, my number 1, these are my 2 favorite shoes. You guys probably already know this already, but it's the J Crossover 2 Low, which haven't actually released yet, and the Air Jordan 29 Low, which was a shoe from last year. So I try usually to not put like the same repeat stuff on the year previous or from the year previous, but both of these shoes are f***ing dope, dude. Like, seriously, like if one of these isn't in my bag, then I'm not playing basketball that day. The 29 Lows are phenomenal. They are really expensive though. That's their only thing. They did drop the price from the originals, but the originals are sitting, the mids or whatever. So these will probably do the same thing. So just be patient. You'll get them for a good price. But I absolutely love that upper. I love their fit. That traction could be slightly better, but they're still awesome. And then that cushion, once you break it in, man, I mean, unlock zoom. You got to do it, dude. You got to try it. And then the J Crossover 2 Low, yeah, it's just like the mid version, but it's kind of like the Force Vector Mesh and the Crossover 2 had a baby, because you're getting the mesh upper, but you're getting the support and the less stretch because there's a small TPU overlay on top of the toe box area, which makes them not only more durable, but also just gives you more containment. And then they're low tops. So again, that's just my personal thing. I absolutely love playing in lows. And these 2 lows are some of the best available options currently on the market. Well, one will be available soon, and then the other one's currently available. Prices are like completely different too. Like the Crossover 2 Lows are like gonna be like, I think it's like 130, maybe 120, something like that. And then we got like 185, you know what I'm saying? So it's like 2 like totally different spectrums as far as price ranges, but you still get great performance no matter what the price is. You just have to be smart, know exactly what's gonna offer you what you need, and then go find it for the price that you want. And that's the main thing with this whole list, is that there's some really expensive shoes here, but they will sit and go on sale, so you can get a great performer at any time. Patience saves pockets. And something that always comes up as well that I want you guys to keep in mind is that just because it's a good performer this year doesn't mean it's not a good performer next year when there's new models out. It just means that there's new models out, so this shoe's going to be discounted. So you can get this year's shoes next year half off, you know what I'm saying? And you still get a great performance deal. You still get great performance on court. Your shoe's not the newest of the new, and that's not a big deal, not to me anyways. And if you're really looking for something that's going to perform well for you, and that way you can save some money, money, then it won't be a big deal for you either. So these are my top picks. These are my favorite shoes to play in of 2015, along with my top 5. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you picked up any of these that are on this list, so to speak, let me know in the comment section below what you think about them. Which one was your favorite? What would you put in your top 5? Maybe you only have a top 3, maybe you only have a top 2. I don't know. Let me know. Comment below, hit the like button. It goes a long way. Thank you so much for rocking with me all year long. And until next time, guys, have a good one.